And in our opening three-player shootout, former Rookie of the Year, he's won 2 titles. Boy, what a year he's having. Chris Barnes, our 7th seed, last week's winner. He put on a performance. Ooh, the first 8 and 1. Danny Wiseman, an 8th seed in search of his first PBA victory. Great amateur player, Patrick Healey Jr. Marshall, it comes down to one tournament for Player of the Year, but some exciting players this afternoon.
Yeah, and 3 of the best players in the very opening match.
Danny Wiseman from Baltimore, the first shot, trying to make it back-to-back victories on the PBA Tour. 11th year out on tour.
Now, ball creeping up high. Didn't like his release. Certainly doesn't like his result, although he doesn't leave a split. Has a chance to make the 3-6 spare.
We talked about it before, Marshall. Very difficult to win 4 matches, especially in this 8-player format. One player certainly can do it, is Chris Barnes. However, he has yet to win this year.
And you have to wonder if the shot that Wiseman threw coming in high got into Chris Barnes' head. He comes in light, leaves a 2-4-5.
For the spare. For the player that's won 8 national titles and 5 regional titles, Danny Wiseman. Always very colorful. Barnes. He doesn't miss any spares.
Well, you see the contemporary players throwing the ball very hard and straight for all the spares.
First look at Patrick Healey Jr. Very steady all week. Started out in 7th and worked his way up. Fell off just a bit and came back to make the show. And
comes in high and leads the 4-7. And he had trouble with the approaches in practice. And once again, sticking at the foul line. Fortunate that he didn't fall over the foul line. That, of course, would have resulted in a foul. Would have be shooting to make a spare, shooting at all the pins.
Send it out right there. Second frame, beautiful shot off the hand of Danny Wiseman.
Much more aggressive shot from Wiseman on lane 20. And Healey having problems with the approach again, missing the 4 and the 7. He hooks the ball to shoot the spares.
Open frame for Healey, and Marshall, despite having an hour to get ready for the tournament, the first couple of shots on television, a bit difficult for some players.
Barnes coming in light, leaving just the 7 pin, and it's the first couple of shots. It's almost like, I liken it to like a football game where you're on the line and you make that first contact, and you know, once you make contact, then you sort of melt into your comfort zone. But game doesn't take very long. Healey must get it started now.
And a strike for Healey in the second frame after that open to start this first match here in the Lone Star Open. Beautiful style, Chris Barnes. We talked about it often enough.
Now both Barnes and Healey, products of Wichita State.
And Barnes leads in about every statistical category on tour, but yet looking for that first victory of the year. And Wiseman ended a drought last week of over 2.5 years without a win. And if he can get to that title match, he's stellar with that 8-2 title match record. Brings it back. Oh, an interesting leave.
The ball did not look that high. It drove through the pocket a bit high, but it didn't look as if it was going to be a wide open split. Ball's breaking in sharply, and Wiseman paying the penalty.
Certainly with that split now, all 3 players in this first match.
In there.
Barnes liked it, but the 10 pin will remain. Wiseman will just take the count. Early in the match, it's an open frame for Wiseman in the third.
Barnes, the 98 Rookie of the Year, All-American in 1990. You had mentioned Wichita State. Starts off this first match with 3 spares.
And Healey right now finds himself in a pretty good position after starting the game out opening. The other guys have really not done much to put a lot of pressure on him. So with a strike in the second, he can get to just 1 pin behind.
Boy, Healey with the double right now, and all 3 players in this opening match.
Band of farmers in France.
The world over, and by Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. Ends gray in 5 minutes. Looks natural. And we're here in Pasadena, Texas. Patrick Healey with that double. You had talked about it. He got the double, and he's on top, Marshall.
Yeah, 1 pin lead, and as I said earlier, fortunate that the other players didn't really pounce on him when they had the chance.
Wiseman has 1 from every position. Of course, now we've added 6, 7, and 8 on the telecast.
And again, coming in high. There's the 3 and the 6 on the right, the 4, 7 on the left.
Wiseman having some problems out there.
Well, you can see the ball is just going to drive right through the pocket once again. 3, 4, 6, and 7. Now it can be made.
Barnes in the 4th.
You can see the spare for Wiseman needs to get the ball into this position, drive the 3 pin into the 4 and the 7. Certainly can be made.
And just about did it, but an open for Wiseman.
Well, now let's take a look at what's in the bag for Patrick Healey. And he's using the Columbia Rockstar. Now he's got this ball laid out to hook early, so it doesn't really jump real hard on the back end. Now the spare ball, the Columbia 300 Extreme Chaos. Doesn't like to use that spare ball.
No. Healey trying to make it 3 in a row. And that is...
Now you can see the ball laying in the back end. It doesn't make a real strong charge. It almost looks as if the ball stops hooking with about 10 feet to go.
Well, what's Wiseman got to do here? A couple of opens.
Well, he's got to get striking and get striking early. More aggressive shot. Danny has a tendency to get a little bit tentative and not just really rip through at the bottom of the swing. See Wiseman's ball rolling down the lane. Watch the 6 pin, second from the right. It's going to drive into the channel, up, out, takes out the 10 pin. The reaction of, well, it's about time.
Barnes up. And just the 10 pin.
Barnes having problems with the way the ball is hooking into the pocket. It's not giving him the proper carry. Chris is watching this ball. He thinks he's got it. Flat 10. Four strikes in a row for Patrick Healey, and his wife Teresa certainly enjoying that. There's a smile.
Yeah, she lined him up after that first strike.
Yeah.
Move over a little bit. He's got 4 in a row.
Yeah, she was so nervous last night as Patrick was trying to qualify. He just did make it. He bowled a very good game the last match against Chris Barnes to sneak into the top 8. Take a look at our scoreboard. You can see Patrick Healey with 4 strikes in a row in the early command position. 21 pins lead.
Wiseman, double.
Well, Wiseman won't give up. He'll need some help from Healey. Take a look at the 6-pin. It does the damage on the 10.
Barnes with 3 spares, a strike, and a spare. Put it right in the pocket, but not able to carry. This time he does. Chris Barnes back with a strike.
Barnes consistently hitting fairly light in the pocket. Left the 2-4-5 early in the match and a couple of 10 pins.
It's been Patrick Healey since that first frame. 4 strikes, trying to make it now 5 in a row. Kind of flipped it out there, and there's another one.
Well, that's the pattern of that ball. He's got the ball laid out so that it won't hook real strong into the pocket. That ball looked as if it was a little bit left off his hand, but as you can see, look where it ends up. High flush. 31-pin lead. All the players striking the last couple of frames.
So Wiseman up in the 8th frame. He trails by right now 44.
Wiseman with 4 in a row still has the opportunity to shoot 235, but 235 might come up a little short, Phil.
Barnes has really been in the pocket the whole game, but you had mentioned early on just couldn't get the carry. Trying to make it 3 in a row.
Chance for 248 if he takes it all the way out. Got a whole pocket, and it does. Ball really sailed a long way down. He's using 1 ball for lane 19, 1 ball for lane 20. Watch as the ball just hangs. It doesn't make the drive into the pocket. Now you see the 6-pin, the second from the right, just lays in the channel. Just cannot come back out to knock the 10.
And Healey missed, chopped the spare in the first frame, and now 6 in a row with a max score of 279.
And a strike there would have put him in the 240s if he would have spare out afterwards, but now still working 230s. Teresa a little concerned. A look at Patrick Healey's last shot. It just doesn't catch the break point soon enough to get back into the pocket. Ball coming in light. Leaves a 2-4-5. And chooses to hook at that as well. He makes the 2-4-5, and I'll tell you what, put a little excitement into spare shooting.
Well, Danny Wiseman certainly right back in it as he has ripped off 4 straight strikes.
We'll take a look at some of the local amateurs this week, and you can see with 220, 230 averages, and on the tour condition, all 3 averaging 191.
Shows how tough it is out here.
Well, it is. A lot of pressure, and the conditions are much more difficult.
9th frame for Wiseman.
Wiseman had the look in his eye of confidence before he threw the shot, but the ball hooked in high, leaving the 3-6-10, making it that much more of an easy deal for Patrick Healey. It just hits a head pin flush, high in the pocket, 3-6-10. His max score now at 212. 227, the best that Barnes can do.
Boy, and it has been a great year in one respect for Chris Barnes. I mean, for Barnes, making his 12th TV appearance. Yet to win, though, in the year 2000. Wiseman picks it up.
Wiseman picks it up. So he uses the alternate route. Instead of going between the 3 and the 6, he pulls the ball over the left-hand side of the 3-pin, but makes a spare. And Barnes will throw hard and straight at the 10-pin. And you're right, Chris Barnes has had it.
Shooting will increase your average by 10 pins, but will not win you any titles.
Well said. A little, you can't help him. He's certainly frustrated all the times he's made the telecast this year, and he's not going to have one win to show for it. Patrick Healey, with any kind of mark here in the 9th frame, will really serve him well to make it to the next match.
And that's a good mark. That's right. Patrick Healey with a strike in the 9th frame. What a great amateur player.
Healey's ball rolling down the pocket, breaking in about 48 feet. All the pins responding. We still have our different color materials to show you the break points, give you a little added advantage of how these players get their ball to strike or not.
Wiseman certainly has come on strong here in the fall tour. Won last week, 3rd in Erie, 4th. Track Canandaigua Open. As Barnes will finish it out in the 10th. But I'll tell you what, those watching back home, the youngsters, there's someone you have to try and emulate, I think, in Chris Barnes.
Barnes, an athletic stylist on the lanes. And Danny Wiseman, someone else who has a very, very good form, great timing. Unfortunately, this week, not going to be able to get it done.
Barnes glances at the score. And again, 216 max score for Barnes.
Oh, hey! That's pretty timely.
Well, you know what he's going through, Marshall. I know that. Because
I know exactly. He's doing his Marshall Holman impression from 1986. And very well done, might I add.
Wiseman, a strike. But Marshall, you went a couple years without winning. You made a lot of telecasts. You couldn't put up the W.
Yeah, and it is just so difficult because you feel like after a while you deserve to win, but that's not the way it works out here. You have to earn it each and every week.
This has been great. Thank you.
Great ball this year, man.
Thanks.
Great ball.
Thanks a lot.
Great ball.
Great week.
Wiseman acknowledges the great year.
Good, he'll fill well.
Well, he's your winner, right, Phil, even though he leads the 4, the 6, and the 7.
Well, Patrick Healey, I'm sure, will get lined up for the second match, but he moves on now as he takes home match 1. And we are back. It's Lone Star Open. And a big win by Patrick Healey. 6 straight strikes in that opening match. He finished with a 224. Chris Barnes a 215. Danny Wiseman that 201. Now let me send it on down to my partner, Marshall Holman. Marsh?
All right, thanks, Phil. I'm with Walter Ray Williams, Jr. And Walter, 6 out of 7 telecasts this fall, 2 wins. What's been the difference for you in the last couple of months?
Had a good tournament over in Japan, got me a confidence going, and for some reason I just been getting the ball rolling and getting those strikes.
All right, now, if you win today with 3 victories, in your mind, do you think you have a valid case for Player of the Year?
Well, I think I have a case. I don't know if it's the best case, but since it's up to a vote and it's up to the players, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I think it's going to be a close vote, but I think I need a win and maybe a little extra.
All right, Walter, thank you very much. Good luck to you. Back up to you, Phil.
All right, thanks, Marsh. I think it depends on what kind of ballots we're using this year. I'm not quite sure if it's the butterfly, but certainly 4 or 5 players have a shot at PBA Player of the Year honors. Match 2, Patrick Healey Jr. looking for his first PBA victory against Ryan Shafer and Brian Himmler. Shafer with 2 titles this year has bowled so well all year long.
Now, this is the man that I really like for Player of the Year if he can win. He's just become such a great player over the last 4 or 5 years. I remember when Ryan first came out, he was Rookie of the year I was Player of the Year, so we have some history together.
First look, Brian Himmler. Hey, how about that 10-pin? The Chief.
Just does catch the 10-pin down.
He told me he got that nickname a long time ago, but it's kind of carried over in the Pro Bowlers Tour because he knows all the so-called hot spots each week. He's the Chief. He's in charge out here.
Oh, I got to be following him around, eh?
You're the Chief in the booth. Oh, Patrick Healey right back at it.
Everybody striking. The left lane hooks a couple of boards more than the right. That's why in the last game you saw Chris Barnes using 2 different balls.
Shafer, Himmler, Healey. All with strikes in that opening frame.
Stuck a little at the line and leaves the soft 10 pin.
Himmler up in the second frame.
Power players.
Well, he fired that 299 final game last night to qualify fifth and really get out of that first match. Very important.
Shafer having a little problem with the approaches. Just sticks a little bit. Now for the 10 pin. No problem.
We're out of Cincinnati with 18 career 300 games.
That's got to hook a little bit. Well, it does. I wasn't sure that ball was going to get back, but it does. And after a couple of spares, Healey gets back on the approach and has the opportunity to take the early lead here in the second match.
Healey, his fifth TV appearance of the year. 3 TV appearances last year, just 2-10. We'll make it 3-10 now with that win in the last match on television.
The 2 and the 8 stand in this lane. Much tighter. More oil. Ball coming in light. The 2 and the 8 will be standing, and then looks like the 5 pin tries to knock down the 8. Wiggles it a little bit, sets it off spot just a tad.
Boy, that one hooked.
That ball hooked a good 6 feet sooner than he wanted to. He's looking down at the lane right now, wondering, what the heck am I doing with that shot? And that better hook. It does. Makes the 2 and the 8.
We're all even. All 3 players strike spare as Shafer sets himself. And again, a long time out here before he picked up that first win. He's got 2 this year.
Shafer having a little problem with the approach, but makes the spare. The lanes are going through that transitionary period where the oil is being taken down from the front of the lane to the back, changing the conditions.
Oh, yeah.
Take a look at Brian Himmler's father.
Brad Himmler. And, boy, he's been here the past couple of nights. And it's nice having your dad rooting you on.
Well, you bet. He's a great fan. He doesn't get quite as excited as Brian does, but he gets pretty pumped up, too.
Healey now in the third frame. And another strike. You know, Healey told me last night, Marshall, he's really got to get that level of patience, something you mastered out on tour, of course.
Yeah, I was always a very patient player. Thanks a lot, Phil. Well, you mastered sarcasm. There's our scoreboard, and Himmler and Healey now 1 pin ahead of Ryan Shafer.
But you do have to be patient. You wait, and especially in this format.
Well, you have not only you have to be patient, but you have to be able to forget about what has happened in the the past week. You can see what a season Shafer's had, having his best year in earnings, 119,000 plus. That's in a hurry.
Well, you had mentioned too, Marshall, with that strike, that should he win, he's your player of the year.
Well, I think if he's win, it certainly comes down between Shafer and Duke. As we watch Shafer's ball rolling down the lane, it hooks hard at about 50 feet. Great shot from Shafer.
Yeah, Duke's won a major. And Himmler, I'll tell you what, he was 98th. He averaged 199 after the first 6 games. He said he was just about ready to pack it in, and then really came back. And boy,
now on the lane that hooks more, he goes right through the nose and pays the full penalty, the 4, 6, 7, 10, and the virtually impossible to make.
Healey's in the same position, as last game, Marshall, that he started that string of strikes in the second, third frame and put the game away. And
Healey leaves a 6, 7, and 10.
What's up with that lane?
Lanes are changing. Healey's trying to adjust. Look at Healey. Good knee bend. The ball's going to come in high. Now, he came in light last time, and the adjustment that Healey makes is with his speed. He slowed the ball down. It catches the dry earlier, goes through the nose. It's makeable.
And it gets 2. But I tell you what, somebody must have left all the doors open. The players leaving all the doors open here for one another, because Himmler with an open in the 4th, Healey with an open.
And he comes close. He just gets a little too much of the 6-pin as Shafer now readies himself for his shot in the 5th frame and can really take command with a double.
You said he's been having some problems near the foul line. Let's see.
There's the great shot from Shafer. And the confidence. It's just, that's what's grown so much. Watching the maturation process of Ryan Shafer over the last few years, really coming into his own this year. And, well, he's been as consistent a player as we've had on tour the last 3 or 4 years.
Got that one out.
That may do it. That may do it. Oh, right in front of the 10-pin. Himmler and Healey struggling. Look at the pin action. Now watch the pin coming from the left. Looks like it's got a really good chance to roll up there and touch the 10, but just falls off into the channel.
Uh-oh. Healey's having some problems, Marshall.
Yeah, we've seen this week in and week out. You win the first match, and you have trouble in the second match. Himmler makes his spare, but right now it's Ryan Shafer. He's working on a double, and he's got...
He had the open in the 4th, came back with a strike in the 5th, trails by 21, trying to keep pace with Shafer.
He's come in light on this lane, he's come in high in this lane, and that's exactly what he wants to do on that lane. There he got the right amount of speed to go with the trajectory down the lane. Ball's going to break in at 50 feet, 49, 50 feet. Himmler doesn't quite cut the 2-pin enough to get it into the 10. Finds himself falling further and further behind.
Now for Shafer. And he told me about this year. He said, quote, "I didn't go away." That was the one thing he was proud, that he just didn't go away. All year long, he hung in there in this Player of the Year race, and second in tour average at 219, right behind Barnes. I mean, he has had a stellar year.
That's got to hurry. Look at the power. Oh, yeah. And look at the smile. He likes that one. I'll tell you, it is, it's very gratifying when you get yourself lined up and you hit flush. But, boy, when you can splash the pins around like this, Phil, it's just nothing but fun.
Dejected Brian Himmler as he strikes in the 7th frame. He can shoot a 213 max score for Himmler. But the way Healey and Shafer going, 2-player race.
Now Shafer's going in a 220s pace right now, and Healey's working in the 190s. Strike here would get him up in the 2-0s, get him 21 down with a strike. Ball inside the target a little bit. Did not get the proper trajectory back into the pocket. Leaves the flat 10. Take a look, a nice close-up look at his release. Patrick Healey really snaps the ball off his hand. Thumb releases, fingers come up the back of the ball. Beautiful.
And picks up the spare for Healey, who's had a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th place finish. His high finishes of the 2000 season.
There's our scoreboard once again showing Ryan Shafer in complete command after 7 frames.
Well, he was shaking his head after the 3rd frame.
Well, yeah, he threw a shot in the 3rd frame that just confused him. But doesn't look so confused any longer.
Starting way to the left.
Ball coming in light, just does not quite get out the 7-pin. Well, take a look at the footwork of Ryan Shafer. Sort of slides that first step and plants, really unleashes at the foul line. Solid 4-pin for Himmler, and he is definitely not enjoying this particular telecast. Has virtually no chance to win. It's this man's tournament right now. least this game, to advance to the next.
And picks up the spare in the 8th frame.
Himmler makes the 4-pin.
And for Healey.
Now 227, the best Healey can do. And right now, Shafer, if he were to strike spare out, he would shoot 228. Important to put some pressure on Shafer.
And he puts a little heat with that strike in the 8th frame.
You know, with as much hook as Ryan Shafer uses, anything, you know, it's always possible to leak the ball a little bit too far to the right, leave a 210, or if you just pinch it a little bit, you go right through the nose and leave the big 4. So must be careful.
Possible 248 for Shafer. Should he strike out? Oh, yeah. He's got it going.
Shafer striking in the 9th frame. Well, it's very simple for this man right now, Phil. He must strike here in the 10th frame to have any chance. There's Teresa. Now, last week with Healey finishing second, I think our tournament director gave the check directly to Teresa. I don't believe that Adam even saw it. He needs to strike, and he leads the 4 and the 10.
Nice. All right. Good shot.
It was not a bad shot at all. Ball's going to break in a tad high, but gosh, he certainly could have tripped the 4 out. And
well, we talked about the frustrations of Chris Barnes, but certainly for Patrick Healey, his 5th show, he's bowled very well, and he has yet to win a PBA title as Ryan Shafer puts the hammer down. The first strike in the 10th frame. We talked about Healey and his large amateur resume. All-American at Wichita State, voted U.S. Amateur of the Year in 91, 92, and 95. Ryan Shafer, though, is your winner here in the second match. Shafer can fire 248 should he strike out, but certainly enough here to advance into the semifinal match. Shafer looking for his 3rd title of the year. Coming up next, my partner Marshall Holman with the Score More with Brunswick Tip. Ryan Shafer in match 2, 9 strikes, 248. Brian Himmler 192 and Patrick Healey Jr. 185. So Ryan Shafer moves on now into the semifinal match. The winner's schedule is out. 2001 all Sunday afternoon telecast. We start in Reno on January 14th. Looking forward to it. All right, now for my partner's final tip of this year. Score More with Brunswick Tip, talking about the proper release.
What you just saw Don throw was a backup ball, and that's a topic I'm going to discuss on this week's Score More with Brunswick Tip.
Dawn never puts herself in a powerful position. She ends up releasing the ball with the fingers going to the left, imparting backup spin. Not a very powerful release. I get myself ready to explode through the ball. My thumb clears, my fingers come up the back of the ball. A lot of good lift, power, and the pins respond. Take a look at the wrist. Watch as the backswing occurs. The wrist breaks back, unable to thrust through the ball. Not a lot of power. Now take a look at this release. Very, very powerful.
As we saw Dawn throw the ball, her ball is rotating in a clockwise motion, going from left to right. That imparts the spin for the backup ball. What she needs to do is have the ball going in a counterclockwise motion to spin the ball from the right to the left for the right-handed bowlers. That'll give you more power and certainly will improve your scores. Here are 3 things to remember. The thumb clears and the fingers roll up the back of the ball in a counterclockwise motion. When you throw the ball, you want to feel as if you're shaking hands at delivery. And 3, the face of the elbow actually turns to the right as you're releasing the ball.
Well, Walter Ray Williams Jr. waiting. He's up next along with Steve Hoskins and Ryan Shafer. And Marshall, we're set for our semifinal three-player shootout. Ryan Shafer bowled very well. Move on.
Well, 9 strikes, 248. And this is really an interesting match because Shafer has a chance for Player of the Year, and so does Walter Ray Williams Jr. But don't forget about Hoskins. Boy, from one match to the next. He's smiling because he's thinking to himself, these lanes are breaking down so fast, just can't believe it.
Walter Ray, 41 out of Florida. Opening shot. And he's to the right a little bit, Marshall, and leaves a big split.
Yeah, comes in high, leaves the 4, the 6, and the 7. He'll just take the 4 and the 7. Shafer for the spare. More speed. He makes it. A look at Walter Ray's release. Gotten real used to seeing that. 6 out of 7 weeks. He's made the top.
Right here on the fall tour. Bowled very well. And Steve Hoskins, 31 out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. Talked to him about 9 titles. He said, you know, I keep thinking about that 10th title. Means an awful lot. And he's got a strike. And not that you win 10 and you're in the Hall of Fame, but winning 10 titles goes a long way to getting there.
I know a lot of 10-time titles that are in the Hall of Fame, so maybe it does. This is the lane that doesn't hook as much. Player's been coming in light on lane 20. Although Williams came in heavy, left the split. That's well to the right. And what a strong shot.
Boy, he's able to send it out there and bring it back. We saw that in the second match. Walter Ray now has to come back quickly because the other two getting lined up. Boy, he moved, Marshall.
He went way inside, playing the big hook. Not his strong suit, but Walter's B game and C game are still pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think gave it one shot outside and said,
well, we'll have to see what he does when he comes back to lane 20.
Right.
Hoskins going for the early double and 10-pin lead over Shafer.
Backswing. Got it out there. Flattened out a little bit. Leaves the 7.
The light hit the players depend on. They really believe that will strike most of the time, and it does. But unfortunately, take a look at the pin action one more time. Just doesn't quite get far enough over. It touches the 7, but doesn't knock it down.
Keeps moving into just the 10.
Hoskins switches balls hard and straight.
Most players do that nowadays. That single pin spare.
Yeah, for the most part, the players, they go to a harder shell ball. Makes it a lot easier to make the spares. There's the flat 10 from Ryan Shafer. The 6-pin just didn't have enough power to jump back out and knock it down.
Shafer won in Wichita, so Orleans Casino Open in Las Vegas as he picks up the spares. So Walter Ray, you had mentioned, back on the right lane.
He has moved in on this lane. Well to the left. You can see he's made over 100,000, 8 straight years. Will that hook back? Yeah. The hook back a little too much, but tripped out the 4-pin. What an aggressive move to go from playing the 2nd arrow well inside the 4th, close to the 5th arrow.
That's why he's made 6 or 7 shows in the fall, I believe, and won 32 titles. Hoskins kicks out the 10-pin this time.
Hoskins having no problem with lane 19 and was very close on lane 20. Just leaving the 7-pin. Take a look at the early scores here in the 3rd match. Williams with that double is just 1 pin behind Shafer and Hoskins.
4th frame.
Shafer taking a little more time. And he trips out the 4-pin a la Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Well, he's got that little swagger now, Marsh.
Well,
You know, win a couple titles. And
the release of Shafer. Look at the way he pops up at the foul line. Just nudges out the 4. Thank you very much. For 3 in a row.
Boy, I tell you what, after that first shot and to see the last 3 by Walter Ray Williams Jr., he can play any part of the lane.
Walter was a great player in the 80s, but he's become a much better player in the 90s, and now in the 2000s, just still has something the other players don't have. And I think it's a lot of it. What it is mental.
Brings it up and kicks him out.
Well, that was very fortuitous for
Wow.
Hoskins. Take a look at this pin action, Phil. Just touches the head pin. He tickled him over. I'm not sure what he's doing here, but it looks like something from the Roaring 20s.
We're in the Houston area, but
That's not the Texas two-step.
No,
I'm
it's
going to
not.
tell you right now.
they're trying to get a double.
Leaves the 10-pin again on the left-hand lane. Well, Hoskins is getting the ball to just snap out the 10 on the left-hand lane, and it is not falling for Shafer.
Walter with the 32 national titles, 15 regional championships, and no.
6-pin jumps out and nudges the 10, but it doesn't fall. There's
Smile.
Paige Pennington, Walter Ray's lovely wife, who travels with him quite a bit on tour. Not as much as he used to, but still a little over half the time.
Shafer, no problem with the spare. Very tight match, semifinal match.
You can see Williams using a different ball. Hard and straight, no problem.
Hoskins trying to make it 3 in a row. Here in the 5th frame.
To extend his lead.
Oh my, Steve Hoskins is the leader midway through our semifinal match. He's up 12. And right now, Steve Hoskins up by 12 over Walter Ray Williams Jr. Ryan Shafer down by 20. Still any player's match here.
Now take a look at the lane conditions this week. The surface is wood. The oil is taken out to 27 feet, and then it's oiled back toward the foul line. Pattern is a Christmas tree. The guys are having to make a lot of adjustments. Right now, Ryan Shafer up in the 6th frame. He's been striking on this right-hand lane. It's the left lane that's been giving him trouble. 11th television appearance this season. That's a boatload.
6th frame.
1, 2, 4, and 10. Sometimes the problems with the left lane infiltrate your brain for the right lane. Maybe got ahead of himself. He'll have to make this spare. Get the ball to the left of that head pin.
Walter stays left, and he's got one in the 6th frame.
Williams throwing a ball with a lot of friction. Get the ball left of that head pin. Drive it into the 10. Something like that.
Beautiful shot.
Now there's a guy that years ago had problems with spares. And no more problem now. But take a look. He needs to get the ball over here and drive it in. Can he do it? Well, you just saw him do it. Perfect.
Hoskins working on 3 in a row. Started off with a strike spare and then 3. High backswing. He'll let it go out. Here it comes. Yeah.
4 in a row for Hoskins. 22-pin lead.
Boy, the players continue to move left. Might be at another bowling center pretty soon. Shafer.
Lanes change. They have to keep adjusting. Shafer staying with the same ball. Makes it work. He thought about switching balls. In fact, the ball rep, Shafer's ball rep, Del Ballard, came up and mentioned he was probably going to be changing balls, but he didn't. Stays with the same one. Take a look at the powerful release. Good balance at the line. And the reaction he's looking for. Knocked all 10 down.
And it is. Come on.
Master of the lanes, Walter Ray Williams Jr. But it's Steve Hoskins right now that after with 9 PBA titles but a couple of major championships, bowling very well here in the semifinal match.
Confident player. Taking a little extra time. See him breathing, getting himself set. That ball held pocket, and he knew it. It ball was left on his hand. It was left right off his hand, but he threw it with enough velocity and enough trajectory down the lane that it held the pocket. Watch, it's not hooking much at all right now. It stops. It's a good thing it did, because if that ball would have hooked just a little bit, could have been a wide open split.
Oh, yeah. He likes it.
Surprise.
Boy, he's cashed in all 7 fall tour events, Hoskins has, and right now he is out in front.
Big lead for Hoskins, 32 pins.
Shafer in the 8th.
And now he leaves the 10 pin on the right-hand lane. And how many opportunities does one have at a possible player of the year? For Shafer, it could be his one and only, but the way he's been bowling the last few years, we take a replay of his form. He's not going to knock off player of the year this year, but look out for him next year. Yeah. And look out for Walter right now.
Walter's found it, well, ever since the second frame, and he made that drastic move.
And I misspoke a while ago. I said that he was 32 down, he was just 22, and now he's just 12.
Shafer picks up that 10 pin.
You know, aside from Doug Kent a few weeks ago, who went from the first match and took it all the way out, and Parker Bone last year, you just don't see the players winning consecutive games that often in this format. It's just too difficult. The lanes change too much.
And another one. He blows the rack. So Hoskins with 6 in a row. And even though Walter is coming on strong, Marshall, Hoskins saying, wait a minute.
Well, Duck, take a look at the ball, the way the ball drives back, hooks hard at the back end. 5 pins going to the sideboard, taking care of the 7. That is a strength delivery shot right there. You might wonder, how come that ball, he used it last game, it was striking last game, but the lanes have changed just enough that it's putting the ball in at a little different angle, and it's just 9s instead of 10s.
Trying to stay in the match.
Come on, baby, yeah!
Putting on a show.
And Page agrees. That's the way to do it, Walter.
I imagine it's tough for a player to move when you're just leaving the 10 pin. Make a drastic move or change balls, you can flip it.
Well, that's the nature of today's game. You can't be tentative out there. You have to be able to make the adjustments, but there's so many different ways you can go with changing the ball, changing the release. Ryan is trying right now. He's tried to make different adjustments. Just didn't pick the right ones.
Big shot from Steve Hoskins here in the 9th.
Something must have distracted Hoskins, and he puts the ball down. That's what I would suggest doing. If something distracts you, put your ball down, start the pre-shot routine all over again.
Get back up now. Hoskins, 3rd TV appearance this year, 5th in Dallas, 6th in Erie.
Solid 4. Actually looked like he made a better shot in the frame there than he did the last time on lane 19. Last time on 19, the ball held pocket. That one looked good off his hand, but drove a little bit high.
Shafer can shoot 205 should he strike out here in the 10. This time the 10 pin goes down. Well, that's between Hoskins and Walter Ray, Marshall.
Hoskins with a possible 259. Williams with a possible 258. This is getting to be fun.
Coming down to the 10th frame. Winner to face Doug Kent for the title. Well, Shafer has just had a sensational year.
Finally, the 10 pin falls a little late, but he's happy to see it go. And for Williams, he admits to being nervous. I never knew he was nervous when I bowled against him, but big shot here in the 10th. Did he get it far enough right?
Oh.
Solid 10.
Boy, great shot.
Another 10 pin for Shafer. I too want to congratulate Ryan Shafer on the great year that he's had. Williams with a spare strike can shoot 237. It'll force Hoskins. Mark in the 10th. Any kind of a spare or a strike, Hoskins will be the winner, and he'll go on to advance the championship match against Doug Kent.
Right there. That's the way to end it up.
Best kind.
Steve Hoskins with that strike. We'll move on now into our championship match. Hoskins looking for his 10th title. He'll go up against red hot Doug Kent when we come back.
Left to sustain their drive to the NFC East title. The Giants face the Cardinals at 8:30 on ESPN Sunday Night Football. It's football after dark.
All right, Marshall, what can we expect here in the title match?
Well, if it's running true to form, you just give the money to Doug Kent. Nobody can win more than one match in a row, but Hoskins, a very confident, incredible player. And first shot coming in high, and it was not the lane. It was his swing. Got the elbow out, just didn't make the proper delivery. Fortunate, because, boy, when the ball goes through the nose here, you have a lot of big, wide-open splits. He leaves the 6 and the 10. He switches to a harder ball, and he'll just fire at it.
As a player, you know it when it's your swing. And
oh, you can certainly tell right off the bat. Look out. And he picks up the 6 and 10.
now we take a look at Doug Kent. Well, he was something a couple of weeks ago in Indianapolis, seated 7th. Went through the field. Out of Newark, New York.
Look how far inside he's playing.
He's in front of the ball return to start.
And he leaves the 1 and the 10. The 2 and the 4 are up there, but that wasn't the way Doug Kent wanted to start this title match out. You can see he's standing in front of the ball return. The ball hits the 6th arrow. That's deep. Doesn't hook back enough. Now we saw Shafer make this earlier. Get the ball left of that head pin. Drive it into the 10. Too much head pin.
So an open for Doug Kent in the first frame.
Well, let's go down and see just how close he was to making that. He needed to be maybe an inch and a half further left on the head pin to knock it into the 10.
Got to settle down after that open.
Now he'll put it behind him. This lane hooks more. And there's the opening strike for Doug Kent, who really made a statement yesterday. He really ran away from the field in the last 16 games. A powerful strike. Ball driving into the 10-pin from a very, very deep angle.
Hoskins with a strike in the second frame. Hoskins ranks 17th in the PBA World Power Rankings.
Hoskins, he doesn't stand in front of the ball return, but he's very, very close to it. Walks to the left, then projects the ball back out to the right. And oh, would he like to have double figures in wins. This one would be his 10th.
300 games a couple of years ago on tour. Third frame.
Came in high in the first frame. He comes in high in the third frame and gets a very, very good break. The 4-pin is tripped. Take a look at the line. Very deep. The ball's going to be inside the 5th arrow. Doesn't get far enough to the right, but watch the 4-pin as it gets tripped out.
Kent brings it back. Kent has a double, maybe a couple of things working against Doug Kent, the tournament leader, 8-10 in title matches this year, and as the tournament leader, Doug Kent is 0-3. But
well, you know, you can take those numbers and you can just throw them right away, Phil. They really
okay.
They don't mean
there
anything.
They go.
And there they went.
Kent has come back after that open in the first frame with a double.
And just down by 11 pins. Can cut it to 1. He does. Well, what a great comeback after that errant first shot.
This is from that guy right over there.
To watch Hoskins the next couple of frames, especially when he goes back to lane 19. Now he hit flush in the pocket on lane 20. But then he tripped that 4-pin.
Hoskins. Yeah, got it. 3 in a row.
A lot of good things happening to Steve Hoskins today. He's a very funny man. Watch the ball, very deep inside, over around the 5th arrow, making the break at 45, 50 feet.
Oh, yeah.
And the 5-pin laughed at him for a second, but
he
gets the last laugh. Oh, yes. Aren't I special?
Got to have some fun out here, too. So
He
Hoskins.
does. Hoskins is a showman. He knows when he's bowling on television, and he's very, very talented.
Trying to silence Doug Kent. A long way to go.
Delaney put the 4 on.
Got it.
That's the one he's looking for. That's the confidence builder right there. Hoskins, watch the fiery release. Really, a lot of lift at the bottom of the swing.
Well, he's got it going, Marshall.
Now this man's got 3 in a row as well. Needs to hurry. Oh, solid 10.
Boy, Kent is lined up on the other lane. Wow.
Look where he's starting, and watch how close his ball comes to actually going in the left gutter. He has to project the ball over the gutter cap. And then, unfortunately, he leaves the 10-pin. He makes a spare, but the breaks right now seem to be going Hoskins' way. Kent trails by 22. As you can see, as you said earlier, he's never won when he's been the tournament leader.
Well, this is the first time Pasadena Diamond Lanes has hosted the PBA National Tour. The last time we visited the Houston area, and I know, Marshall, you're familiar with the event, 1984. You led by about 500 pins, and Brian Voss knocked you off.
Well, thank you very much.
Bring bad memories.
2-pin for Kent. Very critical line he's playing. Now, we've had a lot of good times bowling in Texas. Glad to be back.
And Kent will pick up the spare, but right now it's Steve Hoskins. He's ripped off 4 straight strikes. He's up by 22. back in Pasadena, Texas, and still really anybody's match. Doug Kent opened in the first frame, but has really found the line.
Yeah, well, Steve Hoskins has the opportunity to put more distance between himself and Kent. If he were to strike here, raise that lead to 33 pins.
Twisted it up and got it.
Oh, he really has had a lot of good pin action today, and that goes hand in hand with getting the job done. You can't rely on being able to throw it high flush every time, especially with the powerful balls. You take advantage of what the balls can do for you.
Hoskins steps up in the 7th.
Our proprietor this week, Jimmy Young, been very, very gracious to all the players, and we're happy to be in his center.
Great crew working on this PBA event.
That's it. 6 strikes in a row. Look how high this backswing is. The great projection. 6 pin will take care of the 10. And for Kent, the 6 pin will not take care of the 10, and it's looking more and more like Kent's inability to win as the tournament leader will continue.
Kent, his 4th TV appearance this year. 1 in Indianapolis, 3rd in Las Vegas, 7th in Erie. He picks up the 10 pin. Well, the PBA Tour may be off in the month of December, but you can stay on top of all the latest PBA news. Check it out, the PBA's website, pba.com. Find out the results of Player and Rookie of the Year voting. We promise it'll be done quickly, swiftly.
Not bad.
Check out next year's Winter Tour schedule and get the latest info on the national, senior, and regional tours, all that and more. Great site, pba.com. Kent bringing it back and kicking it out.
Over yet. Over yet.
Not over yet?
That's right. Kent still can shoot 236, and it'll force Hoskins to get up there and just keep marking.
Well, Hoskins talked at great length last night when I sat down with him about winning that 10th title and within his grasp. Wow. Could have been disastrous.
Hoskins fortunate just to leave the 6 and the 10. I know that wife Lisa and Lindsay and Ryan at home watching Daddy Bull right now and saying, come on, Dad, get that ball back in the pocket. Don't be throwing it through the nose like that. It hooks high. Fortunate that 7 pin falls out. Switching balls. Will he get him? Oh, just does hang on. Putting some excitement into the match.
We're through 8, Mike. Marshall. Still a comfortable lead.
And Hoskins with spares in the 9th and the 10th would be in the 240s. Kent, the best he can do is 236.
Well, Hoskins held a 300-pin lead early in this tournament and kind of fell off.
Yesterday, Kent dominated while Hoskins had problems. Trips the 4 out. The tension mounts as the frames continue. Leaves just the 9. Shouldn't have any problem making this 9 pin, but if Kent can strike out, he'll force Hoskins to mark in the 10th frame. And with Hoskins coming in high, leaving the 6-10 in the 8th, certainly not over by any stretch of the imagination.
Picks up the spare. So now it's Doug Kent's turn, and he will finish out his game.
It's like a football team going into a prevent defense, you know, where they just don't get up on the line and really try and defend hard enough, and the opposition has a tendency to walk all over you. So Kent has the chance to put the pressure on. Must strike. It does. I've been in the position before, and I know Steve. Steve isn't rooting against Doug Kent, but He'd appreciate it if he wouldn't strike this shot.
Great title match. Ken going through routine. Max score of 236. Should he strike out here in the 10th frame?
Well, he does need them all. To continue the pressure.
And he got it, kicking out the 10.
Boy, what a gritty performance for Doug Kent.
One big shot after another.
Well, and this one as big as any. Must have this.
Boy, he experienced some back pain before the fall tour. Realized it had a bulging disc. It's been bothering him, but it's slowed him down a little bit. He said it may have helped him.
This to get to the 230s. Yeah! What a great comeback. He's going to make Hoskins get up and make the shot in the 10th frame.
And Hoskins has bowled very well, but the last two shots, a little bit high.
Well, he went through the nose on lane 20. His previous shot. Tripped out the 4-pin of the 4-9 on lane 19, the 9th frame. Count still very important. Strike here for 236. Threw a little harder. Got away with it.
Well, Steve Hoskins applauding, and why not? A great performance by our tournament leader, Doug Kent, as he finishes with a 236. It's up to Steve Hoskins.
And Kent feeling good about himself right now, but Hoskins just needs to mark. Sometimes a very difficult thing to do when you just need a mark. Has to stay aggressive.
And here it comes.
And he did. He was aggressive with that delivery. Leaves the 10-pin. He'll switch balls. He's a very, very good spare shooter. Watch the 6-pin. Second from the right. It's going to go around the bottom of the 10-pin.
Well, Hoskins picks it up.
And he is making it interesting. That's why you use the harder ball, so you give yourself more room to pull it like that. He needs one pin. I think he can get one pin. This should just be a rocket, hard and straight. Throws his strike shot, and there is your winner.
Steve Hoskins wraps up the Lone Star Open here at Pasadena Diamond Lanes. Hoskins' 10th PBA championship.
Story and the Panthers. Every game is a story. Red Wings Panthers, Friday at 8 on ESPN.
The Professional Bowlers Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Brunswick. Brunswick Zone. We innovate, they imitate. By Columbia 300. Columbia bowls the world over. And by Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. Ends gray in 5 minutes. Looks natural. Back here in Pasadena, Texas. The final score, Steve Hoskins 246, Doug Kent 236. Congratulations to Steve Hoskins, winner of the Lone Star Open. The PBA returns to ESPN in 2001 on Sunday, January 14th, with the finals of the National Bowling Stadium National Senior Doubles Championship in Reno, Nevada. For Marshall Holman, I'm Phil Ferguson. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Steve Hoskins, your